Hey guys, it's me again. 3 videos in one day. They all piled up. So for those of you who haven't watched the ones that I'm posting before this, yeah, I just got back from work. Yeah, I look like crap. Sorry, I don't care. I'm on camera. I don't really care what I look like in general, so I'm not going to care what you guys think either. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about my opinions of um, today versus not today. um, it's a little bit confusing. By that, what I mean is my parents are both over 50. Okay. Um, so the values and ideas and everything that I grew up with is different from the people who grew up with parents who are, say, 30 now. Um, you know, I am 19, so you know, I was born in the 90s. And the 90s was a really cool place, although at the time I thought it was kind of dorky. But the older that I get, the more I start to like the 90s. Okay, once the 2000s hit, my benchmark is basically 9/11. Once 9/11 happened, I think it all just kind of went downhill from there. Music, fashion, values, TV, entertainment, everything just went downhill after 9/11. And that's, I mean, like, it's not like, oh my God, 9/11 happened, now everything stopped. It's just like, in my mind, that's where the benchmark is. Because, like, 2000, there was still, like, a lot of 90s stuff going on. Even, like, in 2003, there was still a lot of, like, 90s stuff going on. But, like, it was far enough into the new decade that, like, things started to change and different morals and values and entertainment kind of stuff came up. And so, like, you know, TV today doesn't even compare to the 90s. Growing up with like Cat Dog and like Ren and Stimpy and God, all of it was like you turn on the TV now and you just go, "What is this crap? It's horrible. Why did they?" The only TV show that's still on that was born in the 90s, which by the way was born in 99, um, is SpongeBob. And the first like 4 seasons of SpongeBob, when it was like so openly, overtly gay, was like the best seasons ever. And after people started noticing the gay like innuendos and crap, and started like saying, "Hey, this is kind of like, that's not right." Like that was when it started going downhill because they ran out of ideas, and so the past like 8 years of it has kind of sucked in my opinion. But still, like that's one of the only shows that's still around from the 90s. Nickelodeon recently started reviving their 90s TV shows, all the game shows, all the cartoons. In my opinion, it was probably because they ran out of shows. New shows. Once iCarly went off the air, that was basically it. Nothing nothing good will be on Nickelodeon after iCarly because iCarly was just such a superb show that there's really no replacing it. I mean, that was one of the last good shows I think they'll ever produce. Um, that's not to say that iCarly was better than any of the '90s shows or any really early 2000s shows because it's not. But it was one of the last shows that was good. So just looking back on the '90s, all the TV shows, not just kids shows, but all the TV shows were great. The sitcoms in the 90s were flipping fantastic. The Nanny, Friends. God, I mean, I could list so many of them. Oh man, but like, oh, it's impossible. It's impossible. Why? Like half the time, I wish I was born like in the '80s, and then I probably would have been wish I was born in the '70s. Which, hey guys, the mustache—that's a '70s thing. Don't judge me. You know, It's horrible, it's ugly, it's terrible looking, yeah. But for some reason, I kind of like it. Um, don't know why, but it is kind of a 70s look, and then the mullet is an 80s look. Don't know what, you know, I kind of, I'm an old world guy, but, like, it doesn't really, all the new stuff coming out, I just don't like. Not just TV, but music. Concerts these days can't even compare. Never, ever. They will never compare to some of the shows, some of the greatest shows on earth to the 80s. I wish I had been around to see Guns N' Roses in their prime. I wish I was around to see Skid Row, Aerosmith, hell, like the Beatles. I mean, I'm not even that big of a fan. I appreciate their music, just not my style of music. I'm more of a hard rock kind of guy, Avenged Sevenfold. But, you know, they had good music. Michael Jackson. I would have loved to go to a Michael Jackson show. Like, music these days just doesn't even compare. And movies, I watch 80s movies, and I just wish I was born in the 80s. you know, I mean, ah, and I could keep talking for days, but I mean, I don't want to make another 10-minute video on just me talking about how I wish I was born in a different time. But I'm sure there's other people out there who agree with me, and I'm sure there's other people who disagree. Guys who agree, or girls too, I want to know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about the time that you live in now? Do you guys feel like you had been born earlier, or what? Do you like 70s, 80s, even the 60s, the 50s? I mean, I'm kind of a fan of the scotch in one hand and the cigar in the other, listening to the big band kind of music. I mean, that would be like that kind of guy. That was the whole suit and just the whole atmosphere. Everything was formal. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like a total formal guy, but I love that kind of world. And just tell me what you guys think. You think that was a good world? Do you think the 80s or the 90s or the 60s or the 40s or the 30s or you know, I don't think the 2000 and the teens is a good year or good years. So tell me, guys, what do you think? Let me know.